Well guys, today's video was supposed to be of flying this helicopter back to the house, and I'm still gonna put all that footage in the end of this video. But as you can see, Consuela is a little dirty. She has had a busy couple of days working hard, and she's no longer brand new, you could say. She's still in good shape, but she took a beating over the weekend, and I'll tell you why. And I didn't intend for this to be really a portion of this video. It just kind of happened, and I wore my helmet cam while we were out doing some disaster relief in North Carolina. Basically, on Saturday, I was with Maddie, my wife, and we were gonna go grab some dinner when I got a call from a friend up in North Carolina. His name's Rudy, and he said, "Hey man, we need some helicopters up here. The hurricane damage is really bad. And there's a lot of people trapped in the mountains." So my wife and I got someone to watch the kids. We loaded up with one bag and flew to North Carolina with no plan and posted that we were on our way. And by the time I got there, I probably had 500 emails and a ton of text messages. And my post had been shared thousands of times, and we were blown away. We're like, what is going on? How bad is this deal? So we get into North Carolina. We end up staying at Greg Biffle's house because there's no power in the Asheville area. So we couldn't really stay close to where all the damage was. We load Consuela up with water and fuel. Next morning, take off and fly into just some things that I've never seen before, and some really, really bad situations for people. Like, I can't really describe it well, but I have some videos on my helmet cam that I'm gonna put in this video. And I'm not putting them in there to try and grow my YouTube channel. I'm simply putting them in there to give you a perspective of how bad the damage in the Asheville area is. And it's not just Asheville, it is spread so far into the mountains of North Carolina. And these areas we're flying in are some of the worst areas to fly a helicopter. And I'm talking about the tightest LZs, sloped landings inside of tight landing zones. It was absolutely wild. Consuela, my helicopter, just performed absolutely flawless. I didn't think this was the right helicopter for the job, but I had the ability to take insulin, food, water into the tightest spots in the area and drop them off and get them to people in need, and then haul people out. Yeah, she got a little beat up. She got puked in. We hauled dogs, a lot of people, and it is what it is. It's just a machine. But I'm so proud of this machine and what it's become. You know, this was abandoned in Venezuela, and now she's out here helping people out. Lastly, before we get to the footage, I'll say I do feel a little weird putting stuff like this on social media. However, the awareness I feel we brought to the area made it worth it. There's over $350,000 on the Hope Mill Fund Relief Group GoFundMe. And also they started up a pilot jet fuel GoFundMe. And I'll put those links down in the description because there's a lot of helicopters flying. By the end of day 2, there was 37 helicopters, private helicopters, on site at Hickory Airport helping out. Basically, day 1, this wonderful woman named Erin from the Hope Mill Fund GoFundMe, we just met her at the airport, and she's like, "Can you take these supplies to this spot?" And we just went. And then we come back, and they would just load up the helicopter while I'm looking it over, jam it with fuel, and we would go. I don't know who this woman is, Erin, but the fact that she was able to get us the correct information to the worst spots I've ever seen and give us the right supplies and have them ready on time when we got there, it was incredible. And then day 2, Operation Airdrop, these guys organized a lot of pilots, and they had a good plan, and they deployed us correctly. And we flew that for as long as we could yesterday, and then got back to our family. But it was insane up there, and there's a long road ahead of all of the Asheville area to even get out of there. It's unbelievable. So I don't know what the current status is. I've heard a lot of the critically injured or in need people have been helped, but there's still more. And the government assets are showing up like crazy. There's Chinooks and Blackhawks everywhere. There's a C-17 Globemaster at the airport, and they're working like crazy. Some of my friends brought in some sick helicopters. A lot of these guys just did an amazing job, and this flying is no joke. I'm talking no joke. So a huge thank you to all the pilots who were a part of it, and a thank you to Thoroughbred Aviation for giving me a safe helicopter. It's just been the craziest couple days of my life, and I wanted to share some of these clips. So let's get to that, and then we'll get to the original idea of this video, which is picking up my brand new refurbished helicopter. Let's get to it. So here's an LZ from day one. We just saw people standing here and we had a helicopter full of supplies. So we dropped here, dropped this stuff off, and hauled some people out. Relatively easy. This was probably the hardest landing I did. You got power lines there on the left, a house directly under the helicopter right now. This takes every ounce of horsepower the helicopter has, and we're also full of supplies. Now we did calculate weight and balances before we took off for these flights, and you can just see how tight it is. This is where the MD 500 shines, and the residents were putting X's on the roads where we could possibly set down, and that was really helpful to spot where these guys needed help. And then when we would land, we would talk to them and say, hey, go clear a bigger LZ, and then maybe they can bring in a Black Hawk. So it was pretty helpful when other people were clearing more LZs up the hill. And then you'll see in the next clip, I actually made it up higher on this valley after we dropped off some of these people for another real tight spot.